Hello, I hope it works. Yep, it seems to be working. Hello everyone, today I would like to talk about the wolf and how from a simple indie concept it made its way to first place on Google Play in RPG category. But first I would like to talk a little bit about us, about our company. We are called Rage Quit Games. We're based in Krakow. And we're creating mobile games on iOS and Android. We're creating real-time multiplayer 3D games only. And our most important, most successful product so far, The Wolf, has been downloaded over 20 million times. So the Wolf story, in order to tell the Wolf story, I will have to tell you a little bit about how our company actually started, to give you some context. Then I will tell what actually is the Wolf, how the idea of the Wolf came up, how we went through product development and release and the updates, and then I will focus on the key success factors and the lessons to be learned. So basically, in our opinion, what made the Wolf a successful product. So in 2013, we've created a company called SwiftUps, and initially we were creating a mobile apps for businesses, and we were trying to compete in B2B market, but we didn't have much experience. We started this company with two of my friends from elementary school, actually, and we were fresh college graduates, and we didn't have any experience whatsoever. So unfortunately, we failed badly in this market because it was very competitive. And in early 2014, we switched to game dev. In our hearts, we were gamers from the very beginning, and we always wanted to create games, but we didn't know if we could succeed in this market, which is, I think, is even more competitive than B2B market. So it was kind of scary decision, but nevertheless we went with it, and we've tried to create a couple of mobile games. And we've had some unsuccessful products as well in the very beginning, but then we've created a cat simulator, which was our first free-to-play game. And actually, it was our first successful product that enabled us to get more money and hire an initial team and actually assemble a proper company. So, what is the Wolf? The Wolf, as I said before, our most successful product so far, is essentially an animal simulator. You're running around as a wolf, you're hunting animals, and actually you're upgrading your wolf. So this is an RPG game. And it's an online RPG game, which makes it even more interesting and more crazy. And it's a free-to-play mobile game. So it's quite a combination, I think, and it's kind of, very unique product. The genesis of the Wolf is very interesting. When we created Cat Simulator, we had some initial experience in creating mobile games and free-to-play games. And we saw actually a lot of animal simulators having a huge traffic. Many animal simulators, literally hundreds of games, and all of them were really crappy, like really crappy. So we thought we could make a proper animal simulator, but an online RPG animal simulator. Cat was an offline game in the beginning, and it didn't have any RPG module in it. So it was very basic, very simple. But we thought, when you have an animal and you're running around and killing animals, why shouldn't you level up? Why shouldn't you, create an RPG out of it? And an online RPG would be even better. So that's how the initial idea actually emerged. And then we had to choose which animal. So because there are many animals, but if it was meant to be an online RPG with an animal that will be, upgraded and would have skills probably and some mystical powers, we had to choose a proper animal. Giraffe wouldn't be a good choice probably, or an elephant. So we went with the wolf, and many people are asking me, why the wolf? There are so many animals, but probably in our Western cultural mythology, I don't even know, the wolf is this kind of mystical animal. I don't know, maybe dogs are descendant from the wolves, and the wolves are those primal, those first creatures that we went with like thousands of years ago, and that's maybe what makes wolf magical. I don't know. In Game of Thrones, for example, we have the wolf. You don't have a magic giraffe, you know. So the wolf was the best choice for us, and we went with it. And then we went to the game design, and that was really problematic, actually, because we didn't have experience in designing an online RPG. And we had only experience from the cat simulator, but it wasn't, there were no similarities except a controller. So it was a proper task for us. Very important concept for us in terms of a game design was that it had to be semi-open world. People really like open world games with an RPGs and with all the fantasy themes around. So we thought it will be very good to integrate a open world kind of experience on mobile, which is kind of tricky, but that's what we've decided. Second, we figured out that there should be an attribute system. So the wolf will have health, defense, attack, and speed, and those will be upgraded as you level up and will be increased along the way. Second bedrock of an RPG system was the skill system, and it was actually a little bit copied from the Diablo 2, which we played a lot when we were young. And you had three skill trees from basics, auras, and special attacks. And basically you could upgrade those as well as you level up. Then we went into NPC design, which was very difficult. We've created all those animals that the wolf could fight, the wolf could hunt. It was problematic to design their stats, you know, because in RPG all the elements are kind of connected. Your health is connected to your damage and to the health and damage of others. So when you create and you level up, unfortunately, in terms of design, so your health and your attack changes during the game. So the enemies you attack have to change as well, but there has to be a progression. There has to be a challenge, but there has to be a reward. So it's very, very difficult to design, and we have had no experience whatsoever in designing such complex RPG systems. So it was kind of hell, actually, to make it. Then was even worse problem, was the RPG versus online co-op mode and PvP balance, because you weren't fighting alone. As I said at the beginning, the wolf was initially as a concept, and then we went with it, an online game. So you would have to play in co-op mode together and hunt those animals together and level up together. So when you're fighting one enemy alone, let's say you have 100 life, it has a 50 life, you have 10 damage with 5 hits, this animal is dead. What if 5 other teammates from your team come up and attack this animal? It will be dead, attack this enemy. It will be dead with 1 second. So we created this system that the animals in the pack, number of them increased as the number of people in the room increased. With the PvP, it was also difficult because the skills had to be balanced. The actual combat would have to last some time and not be infinite. It's really boring in PvP when you're just one-hitting everybody, and it's really boring if it was like, you know, 2-minute battles. It would be crazy. So it was, we didn't have separate progress for PvP and co-op, so it would have to be integrated. So we were struggling with the PvP balance as well. And then monetization. This was our second free-to-play game, I would say. So we had some kind of experience, but not so much. And we've monetized the attributes, which is even more crazy than everything before it. So those attributes you had, health, damage, you will get those for free when you were leveling up, but you would actually be able to buy them in the shop. So you could buy health, essentially, and buy damage, which seemed a little crazy, but it was best we could do without implementing, you know, some another problematic layers to our meta. Yeah, with the skills was similar. It wasn't so much, you know, in your face with buying progress, but you would get unlocking skills was free. So when you're leveling up, you would get enough premium currency to unlock a skill, but then to upgrade those into very high levels, you would have to buy or grind a lot. And we didn't have time to integrate rewarded videos, so we just created forced ads, which those were essentially 30 seconds or 15 seconds videos in between the gameplay. After designing everything, it became really apparent that the development is maybe even more difficult. Developing online RPGs is very, very, very difficult. We didn't know it that well at the time. It's a kind of cliche, you know, when you're an indie developer to create an MMORPG. So we knew it was probably a little bit crazy idea, but we thought that we were big enough after we created the cat and we had initial team that we could pull it off. And we started to create all those systems that had to be, you know, created. And the NPC and the network system was probably the most problematic one because we didn't have any server logic. We couldn't afford any backend developers at the time. So everything was basically running client. We had this peer-to-peer architecture. And we had to create 300 NPCs on one map, which would be really problematic if the one device master client would calculate all 300 of those. And it was, you know, some tablet from Walmart for $50. So every game would break like hell. So we created the system which we called VNPC system. So essentially all those NPCs on this open world were inactive, and when somebody was approaching them, they would activate. And the activator, the person that was approaching them, would become owner of those NPCs, would calculate their logic, and, you know, broadcast it to the rest of the players. So we've divided the responsibility of calculating AI into all players in the room. Normally, a server would do it, but yeah, we didn't have servers, so we created it that way. It was very, very problematic, but eventually we did it. Another problematic issue in development was an RPG system, the calculators. You know, when you calculate the damage live, the momentarily, you know, inside of the gameplay is really problematic because many stuff is affecting your stats when you're playing. You can have, you know, your attributes, okay, but then you have your skills. You might have some kind of boost from you. You might have some boost from the other player, and they end not at the same time, so it's not that easy, and the development of this system was also really problematic. And then we had the optimization. It was a 3D semi-open world game, so it, you know, it wasn't a match-free game. So in terms of optimization, it was very, very, very problematic. We didn't have asset bundle system, so the build size would have to be under 100 megabytes. The RAM was the issue because we wanted it to run on very crappy devices as well. And the frame rate was also problematic, and we had to optimize data usage of our, you know, peer-to-peer system. We had to pay obviously for the traffic. The RAM, we optimized it in the couple ways. We were dividing the textures, compressing them on the lower levels of quality. The frame rate we were optimizing in various ways. For example, we were swapping a lot of shaders inside the gameplay for very, very, you know, fast, crappy-looking shaders on low-end devices. Even that crappy shaders that didn't calculate light in any way, so you know, the models would look basically the same from all angles on the low-end devices, but it helped a lot and enabled it to run on those crappy Walmart devices for $50 actually. And after we released it, it was surprising success. We didn't actually anticipate it in any way. We had an article on Touch Arcade on the first page, and eventually we reached second place in the USA on Google Play in RPG category then, and we had 1 million organic downloads in the first month. So it was very much surprising for us. And we immediately started working on it very heavily and updating it. This is actually the chart you can see as we were climbing. and on 8th of February 2017 we hit second place in USA in RPG category. So we had huge traffic. The game was not monetizing that well at the time because it was, very fresh and the systems weren't tweaked in any way. But it was huge progress for us in terms of, our previous titles. It was very, very big, huge step forward. And as I said, the Wolf was stripped at the beginning from content. There was only one map. There was no social layer at all. So we were just playing with those players. There wasn't even chat. There was nothing. There was just gameplay. So after this huge traffic and all this success, Wolf immediately became our main product, and we started to upgrade it and work on it, full time. Everybody. We've added a chat update in order, to fix no social layer whatsoever. So we had to add something really fast. Then, after a couple of smaller updates that I will not get into, we've created a update of progress, basically. So we added another 10 levels for you to level up, and new skills, and they were more expensive. And because we saw on the analytics that people were buying everything and maxing out their progress, so that told us, they could buy more probably. So we added more skills. We added more stuff to buy. We added 10 more levels to to play, to grind, and it was an easy update, and it increased our RPU 40%. So it was like wow. We were creating many updates before, and they didn't do in terms of RPU no success at all, and then created people can just buy more and revenue goes up. So it was crazy. Then another big update, it was probably a year or more after the initial release, we've added finally the friends update with push notifications. So in the beginning you couldn't play with friends in any way. Even after the chat, you could just chat, but you would chat with strangers. You were assigned to the room automatically in terms of your level, and there were like 2,000 concurrent users. So it was literally impossible for two friends to play together in one room. They would have to go out from the game and join, go out from the game and join, and have luck to be in the one room. So we've created this friend system, but it was actually the first time that we've created our own backend system. We've created friends. You could add friends inside the game. You could add friends with an email, with a user ID. You could send a deep link through I don't know, iMessage, Facebook, whatever, and you could invite friends in that way. And you could invite, when you friended each other, you could invite them directly into your room. So it enabled people to play together. So it was a huge thing. And after that, we've added push notifications. So the push notifications worked like this: when you send a invite to a friend to the game, and he was offline, he would receive a push notification. Hey, Mark is inviting you to the game, and it's really increased engagement. And it actually increased our average gameplay time by 30% because people were playing with their friends. When I'm playing, PUBG or I'm playing Counter-Strike, I like to play with my friends. I don't like to play alone that much, and it seems to be the case with the Wolf as well. So it was very, very big update and a very, very successful one. Then we started to work on a content update with 3 new maps. Wolf only had 1 map, so you had online RPG with semi-open world with 1 map. So it's kind of sad, And we started to work on those 3 maps because we thought that adding 1 map wouldn't make that much of a difference. So we thought, we would add 3, and those included all the new enemies that you would have to conquer. They had different behavior mechanics, so it was not just new maps, but new content. So we quadrupled our content with that update, and we actually get a feature for it, worldwide feature for this update. We are working on it very hard for it to become very good value for our users, and to make sure that this content is very high quality. Those new maps, those new enemies, they had to be perfect. and we get a worldwide feature on Google Play, and that was the moment that we hit first place in USA in RPG category. And we actually had 2 million downloads in 1 month. And the 95% of them were organic, because then we started user acquisition 1 year after release. We started user acquisition on Facebook and Instagram. So, why the wolf succeeded? This is a big mystery. It started, as the title suggests, as an indie concept, and it became a real product. At one moment there were 35 people working on it when we were creating, some of the biggest updates. So, why did it succeed? We think poor competition and niche market was a huge part of it. When we saw those crappy animal simulators on the Google Play and on the iOS, we thought that we could make a good one and could create the best product in this field. And it was a niche market, because, I don't know, Activision wasn't creating an animal simulator on mobile, or Tencent, or whatever. So we were able actually to create a competitive product inside this niche market. And if we were, trying to create a match-free game or a proper online MMO fantasy RPG, we probably wouldn't succeed because the competition would be too rough. But in the realm of animal simulators, actually, we could create a competitive product as such small team. Another thing I think played a huge role was a real-time multiplayer. Back in the day, and it sounds funny because it was 2 years ago, but in terms of mobile markets, it's like a decade at least, or a century. So back in the day, 2 years ago, there weren't so many real-time multiplayer games on mobile. Right now, you take those for granted when you have, a Fortnite, PUBG, and all these battle royale games. But back in the day, no, there were almost none. There was a War Robots from Pixonic, and there was a Pixel Gun, and there were a couple of shooters, but proper real-time multiplayer games, not that many actually. RPG loop. In our first product, Cat Simulator, there was no RPG element, but this was our first game with an RPG loop. So it's great for engagement. When you have RPG, player is actually associating with the game very much. It's it's deeper when you have an RPG. And it's also perfect for monetization because you have those multiple layers that you can monetize on. When you have like one layer or one kind of stuff to buy, it's not that easy to monetize. But if you have many of them, so you have one layer of buying stuff, second layer of buying stuff, third layer of upgrading it, it creates great opportunity for monetization. I think it played a huge role as well. Another thing was easy gameplay and controls. The Wolf is very easy game. You have like probably 2 important buttons. You have a joystick and 1 attack button. Then you unlock the skills attack buttons, and that's it. You just run around. You didn't even have to swipe to look around like you have in a PUBG. So it was very easy and easy to use product, and I think it played a huge role as well. And another thing was good graphics and performance. It ran on our iPhone 4S when we shipped it, and on many crappy Android devices. And it actually looked very good on iPhone 7. So on the other hand, we supported those crappy devices, but it didn't compromise the looks on the high-end devices, and that's very important. And it's very difficult to pull off, but that's what we did, and we succeeded. Maybe not directly from the product, another thing, but from the store listing, from the Google Play and App Store stores perspective, we had very refined store listing. We've worked on it very hard, so it would look compelling and distinctive from the sea of other mediocre or even not mediocre games. And we wanted to communicate that we have very good graphics, and the gameplay is very immersive. You see it immediately. 100 real animals. You play online with your friends. You become a powerful hero. It really speaks to people, and this story listing, I think, was a big thing also. And we didn't stop there. We were optimizing store listing all the time. So we were running Google Play A/B tests and actually creating new icons, new screens, and everything. And here, with an icon, you can see very simple improvement: 35% of store conversion rate just by changing an icon. So it's, you know, you have huge traffic for free. If you wanted to buy this traffic, it would cost you a fortune. But we just changed one icon, and boom, that's it, 35%. We're also optimizing and A/B testing screenshots, you know, feature graphic on the Google Play. Everything was optimized. And last but not least, lessons to be learned. It's, you know, it's my subjective opinion about it. I'm a little bit biased because I created this product, co-created this product. But I think those are pretty accurate, and I would like to share it with you. Well, never, ever, ever do real-time multiplayer RPG as your first game. It's or if you're a very, very small team, because it's very expensive, it's very problematic. And actually, we're this close to, you know, not completing it, probably. So we stripped it of content and, you know, worked as hell, and we created it. But I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. So don't do it if you're starting and if you're a small business. And now it's much worse than it was back then. Now the competition is 100 times more problematic, so I really don't recommend it. Another thing related to it is to know your place in the market, and it's directly connected to the first point. It's good to find the easy niche and create a competitive product. We've created an online RPG, but it was an animal simulator. There was no competition in that field, and it was simple. If it were, you know, real characters, it's very difficult. We would have to, you know, make probably some motion capture. It would have to be refined more. The controller, when you have a humanoid character, is 100 times, you know, maybe not 100, but a couple of times more complex. When you have an animal, people don't pay that much attention to the, you know, to the stuff that is going on, to all the animations and everything. And yeah, and most importantly, the competition wasn't that rough. So it's good to find a niche. It's good to find a niche and be certain that you're adding value to this type of games, that you're creating something better than is already available. It's maybe simple. Another thing, gameplay should be easy, dynamic, and responsive. Everybody knows that, but very few companies do it. For example, Elder Scrolls Blades. I like Bethesda very much. I've been playing their games for a very, very long time. And they are probably refining the system, but their combat system, for example, is, in my opinion, very problematic and complex. It's not that easy to use. We could find probably a lot more, you know, examples of difficult controls. It is arguable, but not everybody knows it, but not everybody is applying it, actually. Another thing, when you're creating an RPG system, you should hire an economy or math designer that actually has a experience with it. You know, it's when I look at from, you know, from the hindsight, now it seems obvious. But back in the day, we were just like, yeah, we will create an RPG, no problem. Just grab the Excel and we will, you know, type in every value. It's not that easy, and it would be like, it would save us so much pain and suffering if we just hired for like 2 months. Economy or math designer that actually has some experience in designing an economy in the games. People do it. So that's a good advice. In a 3D game, find balance between performance and good looks. That's what we did, and it, you know, paid off very much. Try to handle crappy devices. I know it's very, very problematic. there are many shitty devices on the market, and unfortunately people are buying them. When we were started to read statistics from our Google Play console or whatever, you cannot imagine how many crappy devices are bought each year now. You can go to Walmart and buy Android device for $30, and it would run probably new Android OS. The Google Play would work on it, and people will start downloading your games, and it will not work, almost certainly, especially if it's 3D game. So try to optimize it, but still provide the good looks for high-end devices. When people are buying, iPhone XS or buying, new Samsung, they expect level of graphics now, especially to be, PUBG mobile level or Fortnite level. So you have to find a balance, and it's really problematic technically, but I think it's very important. And then integrate your monetization deep into your game design. We've actually made this a little bit of that mistake in the past. It's a very wrong approach, in my opinion, to create a game, mobile online game, and don't do any monetization on the day one. So I saw many studios approach like this. We'll create a game. It will have very good gameplay. It will have, maybe even good meta. It will have, a lot of content sometimes. We will ship it, and then we will add monetization to it. I think that is very big mistake, because monetization should be designed deep into your game design. And when you're designing a game and when you're developing a game, this is the best moment to integrate monetization, because you are flexible. You are not worried about what your community might think about your new update with monetization. You're just free, basically, to create every system you desire. So, and it helps really much, and that's what we did with the Wolf, actually, because we created, this hardcore pay-to-win situation, where you can buy health, and you can buy damage for dollars, and if that was an update, that would be problematic. So you're playing hundreds of hours, grinding your character, creating your best build. You have this, wolf of your dreams, let's say. And then is an update, and people are just buying health and damage. Uninstall. That's what would happen, So to avoid this problematic situation and to be more flexible, to do it better, design your monetization while you're designing the game. And it will save you so much problems and suffering. You can start A/B testing it from the day one. You can start A/B testing prices. You can start A/B testing, paywalls. It's very handy, and I would recommend everyone to do it that way. So in terms of our plans for the future, the Wolf is still our main product, and we will still be updating it. It has more than 20 million downloads, as I said, and people are playing it all over the world. It has by now probably 150,000 likes on Facebook. We have huge community. People are emailing us and writing us every day, asking about content, about new wolves, add new skins, add new maps, add this and add that. So we cannot, disappoint them, obviously. And we will be upgrading the wolf till the very end, probably, because people are not stopping playing it. The people love this game, and we will be providing new content for the wolf. Evil Lands is actually our next game, which is based on the Wolf engine, and it has similar mechanics like the Wolf, but is a proper fantasy RPG with semi-open world, MMO for mobile, open-world MMO end quote, but it's the final stage of the Evil Lands right now. And we have tomorrow, which will be open world, post-apocalyptic online RPG, which will not be based on the Wolf engine that much. We have some layer from the Wolf, but we rebuilt almost everything. The logic in tomorrow is much, much more sophisticated. That's why it requires more work and more refinement. And we couldn't show you anything in this event in terms of the visuals, because the visuals will start to emerge right now. So yeah, as I said, Evil Lands is just around the corner. Pre-order just started on Google Play. I just had a text from my partner. So you can pre-register on it on Google Play. There will be probably pre-registration on iOS as well, but I cannot tell you the exact date. As you see, the graphics in this game are incredible. This is the next level. You probably have seen, could have seen it in our booth. If you didn't, definitely go and check it out, because this is a huge step up from the Wolf. We try to provide console-level graphics on mobile, and that's what we've created with Evil Lands. And I definitely encourage you to pre-register on Google Play and to play it when it comes out. I think it will be shipped around July this year, but I cannot promise anything. You know, everything can happen. Thank you for your attention. I think I've rushed a bit. No, not that much. Maybe do you have any questions?
So when you decided to add chat to your game, you already had like PvP working, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you like thought about some creative ways to like avoid problems like toxicity in game? Because like text chat is not maybe the best solution also for mobile when you have like cramped keyboard or so maybe some simplified communication between players.
That's true. Probably a simple text chat is not the best solution. We've created a bad language filter. So you wouldn't be able to curse, but people are very creative. they can say horrible things without cursing. So it's definitely a problem. We actually created it in that way. So in the beginning, that you in PvP mode you could chat only with people from your team, because PvP was not free for all. It was a team deathmatch. So we had 4 people against another 4 people. So I guess they were not, doing so much damage, but it's definitely an issue. We're actually working on it a little bit, and probably some kind of quick responses, predefined responses and communication mechanisms would be better, and we're definitely thinking about it. But at the time, we didn't have time for that. Adding text is very easy, so that's what we went for.
Hello, you have mentioned the A/B testing of the monetization, and weren't you scared that player may notice that their friends have different price levels, different offers, and so on?
Yes, we were worried about it, but we did it anyway. I think, in my opinion, it's just my subjective opinion, but people are too expressive about their negativity online, on forums, everywhere. So they are giving you more shit than there actually is, So I see it with the updates, I see it with everything. People are always complaining, always. Whatever you add, whatever you change, it might be the best update you've ever created, people will always be complaining. And if the update is good, your revenue will increase. So you always have to look at the numbers. You did something wrong when the revenue or engagement or KPIs are going down, not when people on the forums are, crying.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.